Hi everyone, I'm Marie and welcome to my Tech Talk. Today I will be talking about UX and UI design and what exactly is the difference. But before I start, I would like to know, does any of you have a pen maybe? Anyone have a pen? Pen. Am I the only one that's a bit old school? Yeah. Okay, maybe I should rather ask a cell phone. Can everyone show their cell phones? Not your hand. Great. Okay, and then we also have a coffee mug or anything that you can drink out of. Nice. Jenna has a fancy water bottle and a coffee. Okay, all of these things that you see around you, be it the coffee mug, the chairs, the tables, everything has been designed and designed by someone. UX design is everywhere. It applies to everything that can be experienced, be it a website or a coffee mug. But not all experiences are necessarily good experiences. Imagine having your morning coffee from this mug. What a way to wake up, right? User experience refers to the interaction between the product or service and considers all the different elements that shape this experience. But okay, let's get back to me. So a lot of people will come to me and say, hey, listen, Marie, we've got everything developed and ready, but we need you to make it a little bit prettier. And what can we change? But that's not exactly all we do. We don't come in at the end, but rather since the beginning to make sure that the users get the best possible experience instead of just making it look good. So what is UX design and what is UI design? These roles are confused with one another or used interchangeably because they sound so similar, but there is actually quite a big difference. If I look up a definition for UX design, also known as user experience design, it is seen as the process that design teams use to create products that provide meaningful and relevant experiences to users. Where UI design, also known as user interface design, on the other hand, focuses on the look and style of the interface being built. And unlike UX design, UI design is a strictly digital term. It is about the point of interaction between the user and a digital product or service. For example, the touchscreen on your smartphone or the touchpad on the coffee machine that you select what coffee you want. If you look at this example, you will see UI is the aesthetic experience, what it looks like, and UX is about the experience when using the product. And what I also want you to realize is that both these models have pretty good UI. There's nothing wrong with either one of them, even though they are quite different from each other. But the experience that users get while using it can either be good or bad. So it doesn't help you made a pretty interface and didn't think of the experience at all. Still confused? Let me give you a practical example of the process of UX design. So a client comes to me and says, they want something with a chair, and maybe we can add a wheel. But as you know, clients don't always tell you exactly what they want, because sometimes I think they don't even know themselves. So the way we interpret it might look something like this. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually a famous art piece from Marcel Duchamp called Bicycle Wheel. So now our job is to go and do a little bit more research. A person, or as we call them, users, would preferably need to be able to sit on the seat. And the wheel would probably serve a better purpose if it made the chair move. And then I think we should be able to navigate this chair. So after a few ideas and mock-ups, we end up having this. We think we did a great job with coming up with a working prototype. I mean, it has wheels, it has a seat that you can sit on, and you can navigate. We can now show the clients and test the usability as well as the accessibility. And this is a very important step that should not be skipped, and we call it user testing. There are a lot of users out there with some or other disability, for example, vision impairment, deafness or difficulty hearing, physical disability or learning disability, as well as autism. And this is when we realized that we overlooked a few things, maybe made a few mistakes during the process because we didn't do user research right from the beginning. And the users can't really use this because why? There might be a few disabilities we overlooked when creating this prototype. So we move a few things around, different ideas, the way it looks, and then we finally get a final product which works for everyone, the wheelchair. It has a seat, it has working wheels, and you can navigate it to wherever you need to go. The client is happy, and so is the user. So this is why it is so important to not just listen to what the client wants, but to put the users and their needs first, and also from the very start of the process. For example, when Ohio State University had to design the quad, they waited until students worn desired paths before paving the parkways, and Disney took a similar approach. So they designed for how people actually behaved and not how they wanted them to behave. So if you look at the image on the right, the user experience is rather the user behavior, and the design is the user interface, but without any research. Someone thought it would be a good idea, but without doing the proper research. And then you can call this whole image the user testing, that basically tells you, hey, your assumptions were wrong. So with having this example in the back of your head, let's think of an app that we use every day. For example, Instagram. I'm sure everyone is at least a little familiar with it. A UX designer has helped decide what features and things need to be in this product, and also how you should be using them to create the best possible experience. They looked at competitors and saw how videos are becoming more and more popular, and decided to include Reels to keep up with the trend. A UI designer would also take part in it, but rather how things look and feel while using the app, and how much info is shown on the screen. Both these designers design what you are using. So what is UX and what is UI? If I can give you a quick summary of each one. UX design is user-centered. It starts with research, understanding people, understanding the users. It's workshopping different ideas and concepts, and solving user problems. It's all about the big picture, the overall view of the problem, listening, observation, and patience. The typical tasks include user research, creating personas, competitor analysis, designing wireframes and interactive prototypes, and then testing the designs, especially with users. UX is not visual at all, but focuses on the overall feel of the experience. UI design visually represents these concepts and ideas. It includes typography, colors, style, and branding, spacing, boldness or hierarchy, the number of items on a screen, icons, images, as well as responsive design. In UI, you work on your own. You put final finishing touches and focus on the visuals. So next time you do online shopping or realize how easy it is to drink out of your coffee mug, and does your banking app make it easy for you to manage your money, think of the UX designers out there that's busy creating easy, efficient, relevant, and all-round pleasant experience for users. Both UX and UI design are crucial to a product, and they work closely together. And even though they are quite different from one another, they share a very professional relationship with one another. The question that UX designers ask is how we can make the experience of interacting with a computer, a smartphone, a product or service as intuitive, smooth, and pleasant as possible. And UI, well, it is there to complement the UX with its look and feel and the presentation to its users. The goal of a user interface designer is to visually guide the user through a product's interface, an intuitive experience that doesn't require the user to think too much. They also make sure the design is consistent, coherent, and aesthetically pleasing. So, what is the difference between UX and UI design? If you imagine a product as the human body, the bones represent the code, which gives it structure. The organs represent the UX design, measuring and optimizing against input for supporting life functions. UI design represent the cosmetics of the body, its presentation, its senses and reactions. But don't worry if you're still confused, you're not the only one. As Roel Varshni puts it, user experience and user interface are some of the most confused and misused terms in our field. A UI without UX is like a painter slapping paint onto a canvas without thought, while UX without UI is like the frame of a sculpture with no paper mache on it. A great product experience starts with UX followed by UI. Both are essential for the product's success. And if you've got room for one more analogy, Dane Miller sums up the relationship between UX and UI design perfectly. He says UI is the saddle, the stirrups, and the reins. UX is the feeling you get being able to ride the horse. Thank you.